Regarding ambassadors, how the heck do you do it? You've had two ambassadors, all kinds of the brands.
Yeah, portion of luck, I would say as well. You know, I think both when we first signed Lewis Hamilton back in 2013 with the team, there was no way to see what was going to happen in that magical combination between Niki Lauda, Toto Wolff and Lewis over the last few years. The late Niki Lauda being so instrumental, with Toto being such a driving force in this team, with a whole team behind, empowering somebody like Lewis to make such an impact, both in terms of racing and beyond, and the team supported that beautifully. And similar for Tom. I mean, Tom, we've had a long-standing relationship with Tom. He's been an IWC fan ever since the 90s. I think his first watch was a GST that his wife bought for him, if I remember correctly, his first IWC. And then we had a good relationship over the years. And then the opportunity came along that we could work together. And of course, we met and we jumped at it. But again, a little bit of luck then to see this turnaround at the Buccaneers, which I think was a really healthy career change, to come away from that single successful model of the New England Patriots into a new environment, new team. And I think this made a lot of people realize there is a real element of greatness if you can repeat what you've done in one team, in a different franchise, in a different place, with different co-players and coach and so on. I think that's been a huge turning point. And now, we just, as you saw, we just then managed to pull up our little goat talk with James Corden, which I enjoyed a lot.
When I'm watching the game, Tom, how you're finding someone and then split-second decision you take. It's very, very similar, I guess, and I guess I can relate in the split-second decisions I have to take in the races. And it is about getting into that rhythm.
I know both of you have a shared love of watches. Lewis, what is it about watches that you love so much?
I've always been into kind of mechanics. To start as a kid, I was always taking things apart and rebuilding them. When you look at one of these watches and there's 500 pieces all put together by one person, the craftsmanship, I think, for me is fascinating. Plus, the pieces obviously are tiny. I remember getting my first watch. It was from Argos in in England, and the watch was like £6, and that I remember saving up for that watch. And it was I went to school and I felt really proud. I used to wear it outside my blazer, and I thought that it elevated me.
What about you, Tom? When did you first discover your love of watches and what they represent?
Certainly for men, there's not a lot of jewelry that we typically wear, and it does, Lewis said it perfect, it elevates your look. And in college, as I was gonna become a professional, I had this on my screensaver. This was on a really old computer, and the screensaver was a watch, and it was the IWC GST automatic alarm from like the late 90s. And it has a screensaver, and I ever thought, if I ever make a few bucks, this would be the watch that I would want. And I ended up buying my first watch at a Tourneau store in 57th Street in New York, and just went in there at a random time and bought a watch that I still have. It's this beautiful IWC that I still have.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who I connect with very well, but there's also an element of luck. I mean, let's be honest, nobody could have seen that coming to quite that extent.